Hey there, welcome back to Dawn Catalyst. I'm thrilled you've joined me today for another episode in our daily series on personal productivity and mindful living. Today, we're diving into something that affects every single one of us: the showdown between single tasking and multitasking. Think you're a master multitasker? You might want to reconsider after today's discussion. Let's start with a quick self assessment. How many tabs do you have open right now? Are you perhaps listening to this while scrolling through social media or trying to work? If so, you're not alone. We live in a world that celebrates and even demands multitasking. Our society has convinced us that doing multiple things at once is the hallmark of productivity and efficiency. Job descriptions boast requirements for excellent multitasking abilities, and we pride ourselves on juggling numerous tasks simultaneously. But here's the surprising truth: multitasking is largely a myth. What we call multitasking is actually task switching, and it might be sabotaging your productivity, mental health, and performance more than you realize. When we think we're multitasking, our brain is actually switching rapidly between tasks. This constant switching comes with what neuroscientists call a switching cost. Each time you switch from one task to another, your brain needs time to refocus, often taking between 20 to 40 seconds. These seconds add up significantly throughout your day. Research from the University of California found that after being interrupted, it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully return to the original task. That's over 20 minutes lost every time you check that notification. Even more concerning, Stanford researchers discovered that heavy multitaskers are actually worse at filtering out irrelevant information, organizing their thoughts, and switching from one task to another compared to those who regularly focus on one task at a time. In other words, the more you multitask, the worse you become at it. It's like a muscle that weakens rather than strengthens with use. Let's look at some common multitasking scenarios many of us face daily. 1. You're cooking dinner while helping your child with homework and occasionally checking work emails on your phone. What happens? The pasta boils over, you miss an important detail in your child's assignment, and you respond to that important email with less thoughtfulness than it deserved. 2. You're in a virtual meeting but also catching up on emails. When someone asks for your input, you scramble to figure out what was just discussed, potentially embarrassing yourself and definitely missing valuable information. 3. You're driving while talking on the phone, even hands-free. Studies show your driving performance significantly decreases, similar to driving with a blood alcohol concentration at the legal limit in many states. 4. You're watching a movie while scrolling through social media. Later, you realize you missed key plot points and didn't fully enjoy either activity. Does any of this sound familiar? I know I've been guilty of all these scenarios at some point. So what's the alternative? Enter single tasking, the practice of giving your complete attention to one task at a time. Single tasking isn't just about doing one thing at a time, it's about being fully present with whatever you're doing. It's similar to the concept of mindfulness, where you engage completely with the current moment. When you single task, you create the conditions for what psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls flow, that magical state where you're completely absorbed in an activity, time seems to fly by, and your performance reaches optimal levels. Single tasking doesn't mean you accomplish less. Quite the opposite, by focusing entirely on one task before moving to the next, you'll likely finish each task faster, with fewer errors, and with less mental fatigue. Imagine reading a book without checking your phone every few pages, or having a conversation without glancing at notifications, or working on a project without jumping between tabs. The quality of your experience and your output drastically improves. Let's get practical. How can you transition from scattered multitasking to focused single tasking? First, start with time blocking. Dedicate specific blocks of time to specific tasks. During these blocks, commit to working only on the designated task. Even 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break can dramatically increase your productivity. Second, create a distraction-free environment. Put your phone in another room, close unnecessary tabs, use website blockers if needed, and consider noise-canceling headphones if you're in a noisy environment. Third, practice mindful transitions. When moving from one task to another, take a short break. Even just 30 seconds of deep breathing can help your brain reset. Fourth, batch similar tasks together. Process all your emails at once, make all your phone calls in one sitting, schedule meetings back to back. This reduces the mental effort of switching between different types of tasks. Finally, start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire work style overnight. Begin with just 1 hour of single tasking per day, then gradually increase as you experience the benefits. Ask yourself right now, what's one task that would benefit most from your undivided attention? Could you commit to working on that task without distractions for just 30 minutes today? Now, are there times when multitasking is appropriate? Yes, but they're more limited than you might think. Multitasking works best when at least one of the tasks is completely automatic, requiring virtually no mental effort. For example, listening to an educational podcast while taking a walk, or folding laundry while catching up with a friend on the phone. Just be honest with yourself about which activities truly require no mental bandwidth and which ones deserve your full attention. The benefits of single tasking extend far beyond just getting more done. When you focus on one thing at a time, you experience reduced stress and anxiety. Your mind isn't constantly pulled in multiple directions. Improved memory and learning. You retain information better when you give it your full attention. Enhanced creativity. Great ideas often emerge when you give your mind space to focus deeply. Better relationships. People notice when you're fully present with them versus partially distracted. Greater enjoyment of daily activities. You appreciate experiences more when you're fully engaged. Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in something, perhaps a fascinating conversation, an engrossing book, or a creative project. Remember how satisfying that felt? That's the power of single tasking. If you're finding value in these daily productivity insights, make sure you subscribe to Dawn Catalyst right now. Each day, we explore a different aspect of personal development, from focus and productivity to mindfulness and well being, all packaged in bite sized, actionable content like this. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our daily uploads. Your future, more productive self will thank you. And remember to drop a comment below sharing one task you'll commit to single tasking today. I'd love to hear about your experience. As we wrap up today's discussion, I invite you to try a single tasking experiment this week. Choose one important activity each day and give it your complete, undivided attention. Notice how it feels, what you accomplish, and how your experience differs from your usual approach. The power to focus is increasingly rare in our distracted world, which makes it increasingly valuable. By cultivating this skill, you're giving yourself an edge not just in productivity, but in experiencing a richer, more present life. Thanks for joining me today on Dawn Catalyst. Until tomorrow's topic, remember, one thing at a time might just change everything.